Welcome back to Ripon Lodge, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about one of our residents, a particular part of his life, experiences, and career, and that is Richard Blackburn Black. Mr. Black purchased the home in 1952, Ripon Lodge. As the middle name indicates, he was a descendant of the Blackburn family. His mother and grandmother were descended from Blackburn's children of Thomas that had moved to Ohio and then eventually Michigan. Kind of by happenstance, he happened to be moving back into the DC area in 1952 and bought the property from Mrs. Desi Ellis, Wade Ellis's wife, following his death in 1948. Mrs. Ellis would be a regular fixture here up until her death in the late 50s. She was always had an open invitation to come visit the Black family here. Eliza, Richard, and their kids. So the part we're talking about his life we'll be talking about today is his Antarctic experience. Starting in 1933, he would go to the Antarctic a total of 5 times, including a final visit that took him all the way to the actual South Pole for the first time in his 30-year career almost. But starting in his first pre-World War II experiences, in 1933, as at the height of the Great Depression, a lot of young men were, he was between jobs. He'd been working for the city of San Francisco, helping construct their new aqueduct system called the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir through the Sierra Madre Mountains. With that job finishing up, he had a temporary job with the Public Health Service inspecting merchant ships in the port of San Francisco, but it wasn't really long-term work. However, through some contacts he made with the Sea Scouts, the Seagoing Boy Scouts, he happened to know that the old Revenue Cutter Service cutter Bear, a great big sailing ship, was being refitted for an Antarctic expedition under the famous explorer Richard Byrd of Virginia. He had some sailing experience, small ship and tall ship sailing, and was also, of course, a trained engineer and surveyor. So he submitted an application to Admiral Byrd and was one of the men picked to accompany him on the 1933-1935 Byrd Antarctic Expedition 2. They did substantial amounts of mapping, some more aerial-based exploration of the Antarctic continent. Admiral Black took part as a engineering and surveying assistant, as well as helping make some of the maps of the Antarctic. Unfortunately, during his trip away from San Francisco and away from home, his wife Ruth passed away shortly after they left port, leaving his son Doug, much an orphan, until he returned 2 years later. From there, he would serve still with the federal government, but as a civil service member in the Pacific Trust Territories, as a field representative, settling Hawaiian and Californian settlers into uninhabited Pacific Islands, with the hope of trying to firm up the U.S. claim for it in the face of Japanese expansion in the 1930s. Right before World War II, however, in 1939, together with some of the other members who had been on the Byrd Antarctic Expedition 2, he helped start the idea for a United States Antarctic Service. It would be the first federally sponsored, federally backed scientific effort in Antarctica since the 1840s, when the United States Exploring Expedition did some charting and mapping at the very edges of the Antarctic ice shelf. The plan went through. It got Admiral Byrd's backing. He was put in charge, but Mr. Black was made commander of the East Base. They would be on the Antarctic Peninsula, helping map and photograph large swaths of that coast around the peninsula and into the interior mountain ranges of Antarctica. Today, that site still exists. East Base is largely covered with ice, but not entirely, and is today a United Nations designated World Heritage Site, along with other exploring camps in the area. So if you're ever in Antarctica, you can visit East Base, and in East Base, you will find messages, notes left from Mr. Black, including one asking you not to disturb anything because this is United States government property, even if it was abandoned in haste as the ice shelf closed in and they needed to evacuate the personnel as quickly as they could before it completely closed off contact for another year with the station in 1941. So his message, he basically wrote it in charcoal all along one wall, and it's still there, signed by Richard B. Black.